welcome back to this podcast with me, your host, Jordan. I have an actual Bali best friend on my podcast this week, and her name is Elin.
Hi.
You've seen her plugged absolutely everywhere, all over my socials. So I think people were kind of expecting this podcast.
Well, I was just like, when is she going to ask me? And I didn't want to be like, hey, can I be on your podcast? Because I feel like I hate when people do that to me. Like, I should be on your podcast. I'm so good. And I'm like, she knows that I'm great. I'm just going to sit here and wait for it.
Darling, it was always going to happen.
Yeah.
As we know, I've had my own dramas. So it was
a
long time coming. But we're back. Yay! So you have now been blessed with Elin.
Yay.
And I can't wait for the conversation because I know it's going to be a good one.
I know. Yeah.
We've actually just got back from Kintamani.
Yep.
So we've spent the last 2-3 days together. But yeah, me and Elin have a very good work ethic, and I can actually work with you very well. Like, sat at the side of me, I know that you're going to be zoned in. I know I'm going to be zoned in. So we just crack on. We're a good combo.
Yeah,
Aren't we?
definitely.
So let's tell everyone, Elin, what you actually do for a living and the reason why I actually asked you on this podcast, because it's very aligned with what I do.
Yeah, sure. So I am from Sweden, but now I live in Bali. So if I have an accent and you can't understand me, that's fine.
It's an Australian accent.
Yeah, I've lived in Australia for 8 years. So it's like a mix of Aussie and Swedish and everyone else that I'm around.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started doing weight loss coaching about 5 years ago. And then it kind of just naturally transitioned into more body image, mindset, binge eating especially. And as it was, like, I started getting a lot of clients who had those problems.
Yep.
And then I myself kind of stopped wanting to lose weight and started kind of stop tracking my food, stop trying to look a certain way. And when I started doing that, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I can't tell these people that they're not good enough, that they need to lose weight, that they need to track their food if I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And I've always been very, very open with my journey, like online, with my clients. For me, that's been a huge part of my own healing, like talking about it to other people.
Yeah.
Not even so much my friends, but online. Anyway, and then I started getting loads of people with binge eating who struggle with body image, struggle with confidence, who struggle with just feeling really low. And that was kind of, no one really has issues with their food unless they have a problem that's going deeper. Like,
well, I never even heard about binge eating. Like, I didn't know about it. But then once I listened to you, I thought, shit, I do that.
Yeah.
And I think everybody does that at some point in their life, whether they're going through a breakup, you either don't eat or you eat loads. And it is something that's actually active throughout your whole entire life. Whether you turn to food or you turn to something else, it's kind of like an addiction.
Oh, 100% it is an addiction. And it is the symptom, but it's not actually the cause. It's not the problem. So you might start binge eating because you're going through a breakup, or you're going through lots of stress at work, or you, I don't know, something's happened to you, and then you can't physically deal with it because you're not ready, or you just don't want to, and then you start binge eating, or you might start gambling, or you might start having sex with loads of people, or you might do online shopping. Any kind of addiction, it is the exact same, and that's what, like, I started realizing as I kept coaching, that everything stems from the same. Like, it's just a numbing thing. You're just trying to numb yourself from feeling what's actually going on for you. So then you use food, or you use sex, or you use shopping, or whatever it is for you, to not feel it.
Yeah.
So basically it's just a distraction. So people think that, I binge, it's just about the food, or I'm anorexic, it's just about eating or not eating. But it's actually so much deeper than that. And that's what I do. I help people. So basically how I work is, first we stop the immediate stressor. So the binge eating, for example. So I tell my clients to kind of look at it as like having an open wound and it's bleeding. And when the wound is bleeding, you can't, like, you have to stop the bleeding. Otherwise you can't actually start cleaning it out. Like, that's... No one's going to do that. Yeah. So you need to stop the bleeding first. So that's what we do. We stop the binge eating. So we break that habit, because once you've done it for long enough, it does just become a habit.
Yeah.
Your brain
Isn't it 21 days to break a habit?
I mean, I think it's very different for everyone.
Okay.
But basically how habits work is, you know, when we've done something repeatedly, like enough times, your brain just goes, okay, Ellen's done. Every time she feels stressed, she tends to eat. So we're going to create a shortcut in her brain to go straight to binge eating, because then we don't have to think, oh, what should we do when we're stressed? We just know that when we're stressed, we eat. And then you start associating like stress, like sadness, anger, like when all kind of feeling similar to that, it's going to go into the same kind of
mosquito
memory folder, if you want to call it that, like in your brain. So that's why it might start off when you're sad, but then it goes to when you're stressed, and then it goes to when you're angry, and it goes to like, it just kind of grows and grows and grows.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is you need to break that habit loop. You need to find a way to get around to not take that shortcut in your brain. And once you started doing that, your body comes down to this more natural, safe space. Because when you are in that, you know, when the wound is bleeding, you are basically in fight or flight mode.
Yeah, of course.
Because you think you're going, like, your brain is like, basically, we're going to die. We need to do something here. We need to be in this autopilot kind of way, because this person is so stressed, she can't actually think straight.
Yeah.
So you are in that fight or flight mode. We want to break that, take you back to the present where you actually can make decisions. And that's when you can start understanding what is actually going on.
Yeah.
Because until you feel safe, there's no freaking way that you're going to be able to work on and go deep and do that shadow work and understand, where is this actually coming from? What is it that I'm trying to suppress here?
So true. And it is so relatable with all the coaching I do as well. So I always go to the core problem. So your first sexual experience, which can be really young, it can be really old, it doesn't matter. We have to pinpoint where that trigger has come from. So it's so relatable. But I found it so interesting when I actually met you, Elin, because you walked into Eden and we'd already followed each other on Instagram, hadn't we, just for like a couple of weeks previous, because cars are unplugging again. I think I plug cars on every single podcast.
Introducing us to everyone.
I know. She was going to start working with you, wasn't she? So you were already in communication, and then I was already sat there like I am, just doing my own work in the background. And Elin was walking in and I was like, oh my God, I love her. As soon as you walked through the door, you were like, hi! And like bounced in and then sat down, and I saw you go into work mode straight away, and I thought, oh, that turns me on. Like, I love a woman that is so in the feminine but so in the masculine at the same time, and you just brought that energy. And I think we clicked from then. Didn't we? We were just... I was like, I really like you. You were like, I really like you. I love your energy. And I thought, match made in heaven.
Yeah. Oh, it literally was like that.
Wasn't
100%.
it?
Like, as soon as I met you that first time, I always tell you this. Like, I feel like you have some kind of energy that just, people just gravitate towards you. And especially, like, after I was being away, I was thinking about it so much, and, like, hearing your backstory, and I'm like, oh, it's so similar to mine. So it makes sense that we connect so well, because our wounds are the same. Like,
so true. Our inner children are friends.
Yeah, they're having a great playtime.
Yeah, they're both sat in a corner somewhere like, oh, I'm so glad I found you.
Yeah.
So me and Elin are actually doing an inner child workshop this weekend. It's in 2 days. And I am shitting myself.
Oh my God, I'm so scared.
We are like, and as happy as we are at the minute, we were both discussing this yesterday, it doesn't matter where you are on your healing journey, there's always something you need to fix. There's always something that is underlying or suppressed, or something that could potentially trigger you in the future that you need to work on. You are never, and I say this to everybody until I'm blue in the face, you are never fully healed. That is, you can never use that word healed. You are constantly healing. This is a journey. It's a lifetime that you will go through different transitions and changes, and it's a work in progress. We are literally whips.
Yeah, 100%. And like, healing your wounds, it's like, yeah, you can stop the bleeding and then you can start healing, you can stitch it back up or whatever, but you know, the scarring is always going to be there.
It's always going to be a reminder.
And you always have to care for it, and it's always going to be a reminder that it's there, and there's nothing wrong with that.
So true.
It's okay to feel like you're not good enough. It's okay to feel like you're not important. You just have to understand that this is just your core wounds that inner child is holding on to.
Absolutely.
And you don't have to believe it.
Yeah.
But
And what I found interesting when you were talking is you said that you helping other people helped you heal yourself. And that is such a core thing for me with my coaching, because I went into this completely blind. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I had done my training, but I was still in that really early healing phase myself. And the only reason I went into it was because I've told them before, but my own healers said, you should do this. You need to do this as a job. You have so much you can share. And like you said, many people say to me, I feel comfortable when I'm around you. I can open up, I can talk, and I'm so glad I have that energy with me. But I had to figure out how to separate the two. I am such an empath and take on other people's problems, whereas I'm still gauging that. I'm still gauging the whole, okay, we'll talk about it and I'll help you and I'll be there for you. But Jordan, don't go home and think about it all night, because that's just how I am. And I am getting to that level, but with me coaching other people, it really did put me on my own different journey. And I think when they come with similar stories to what I experienced when I was younger, and I can see the pain they're in, that's something that really sets me off, which I'm trying to figure out. And I bet with your binge eating as well, it kind of sometimes triggers you to think, oh, I'm just going to do it, but then you have to snap back out of it, because we're at that stage now where we help others as well.
Yeah, definitely. And like, for those of you who don't know me, like, I've struggled. I was 15 or something when I was diagnosed with anorexia.
Oh my gosh,
And
no
then
way.
and then
Every day I learn something new about it.
I see. So this is why Sunday's going to be so healing for me, because there's so many
Wow.
things that I have suppressed
Yeah.
and not talked about and not, don't want to think about.
Yeah.
And obviously they're always going to be a part of me. So this is something that I'm really trying to do this year. But yeah, I was anorexic, and then I kind of, it's a very long story, but basically my mom was the reason that I started eating again, because anyone who's had an eating disorder, especially something that as deep and like strong as anorexia, knows that it's basically just like, it's like having a voice in your head that is just telling you that you can't eat, that you're not good enough, that you just can't eat.
Yeah.
Your whole life just revolves around not eating. Like, one of the worst things I did was, so I obviously am from Sweden, and I live quite far up in Sweden.
Yeah.
And it was one day I was gonna go home from school, and I pretended I missed a school bus, which was it was 10 kilometers from my house, and it was middle of winter, snowstorm, and I pretended to miss it just so I could walk home on the busy highway in the snowstorm just to burn calories.
No way.
Yeah. So this is it. Everything was a lie, and I lied so much that I started believing it myself.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until my mum, I came home and she was just crying in the hallway, and she just looked at me and was like, Ellen, I can see you're fading away. Like, can you please start eating again? And that's when I kind of just decided that, okay, enough is enough. Like, this voice in my head telling me that I have to be the skinniest person. Like, I literally wanted to be a skeleton. Like, I had pictures of skeletons on my computer, and I was like, that's what I want to be. Like, I'm not going to be happy until I look like that. Like, it's fuck, yeah. So then I started eating again, but I didn't get help because, like, this was 15 years ago in Sweden.
Yeah.
Like, eating disorder coach, that was not a thing. It was rehab or hospital. And I was like, I'm not freaking, going away to that. And I kind of thought that if I can stop eating, surely I can just start. Like, it can't be that hard. But it was. And this is when it really spiraled into binge eating, like yo-yo dieting, and just got worse and worse and worse. And then I got obsessed with tracking my food instead. So I just swapped my binge eating for like being obsessed with my fitness pal and training twice a day. Like, I was training more than my CrossFit coach, who was an elite level athlete. He said, like, why are you training 4 hours a day and working? Like, that's like, and not doing any of the rehabs. Like,
to the extreme.
Yeah, it was just to the extreme. And this is what tends to happen with people who have this addictive personality, that you have one addiction, and instead of actually properly healing it, you just go into the next one.
Yeah.
And you think that you've fixed yourself. Like, every time that I came out of something and into the next, I was, I'm fixed now.
Yeah. Same
even with, like, when I stopped being obsessed with tracking, I channeled all of that obsessive energy into my business. And it grew quickly and it took it off the ground. And to be honest, it was probably what I needed to do. Like when you first start, you kind of have to put everything that you have into it.
Yeah.
But then it just really escalated that to the point where I couldn't sleep. I was laying awake all night thinking about the stuff that I said to my clients, how I could keep growing, how much more money I could make, and just really, really heavy into that masculine. So that you're saying that you feel like I'm feminine, that makes me really happy, because it's something I'm really trying to work on, like balancing that out.
It is. It's coming out of you. You are so in your feminine. And I think it's a confusing thing for us as women that are high value women that have our own businesses, that are striving for our own independence, to be so feminine. Because what even is masculine and feminine now? I think we're so fixated. I didn't even know about masculine and feminine until I moved to Bali.
Same.
I was like, what the hell are these terms that everybody keeps using?
Like woo-woo. I was like,
yeah,
bullshit.
same. But then when I figured it out, I thought, well, hang on a minute, because how are we meant to be the ones that are providing for ourselves, putting food on the table? And I love being that woman. I love the fact that I can give myself anything I want and I don't need anyone else to provide for me. But that's seen as being masculine because you're not in your feminine. And I constantly contradict myself with masculine and feminine, because I like fight the devils on my shoulder, and I'm like, no, but why does that have to be masculine? That could be the most feminine thing in the world that we're providing for ourselves. Who dictates that is feminine and masculine? But I get what you're saying, because I've been working so hard on trying to do my whole feminine side of it and bringing it up to a level that kind of balances me out. And I'm getting there, and I know I'm getting there.
Yeah.
But it was interesting then when you said our addictive personalities, which we discussed this yesterday, because we both do have very addictive personalities. If I love it, I will exhaust all avenues of it, but then I also turn off very quick.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll throw myself into something, and this probably has a little bit to do with my ADHD as well, that I have such a scatterbrain and I have 10,000 things that I want to do, but I'll push one thing, kind of forget about all the other things, become obsessed with it, then something will trigger with one of the other things. I think, oh, switched my mindset, and then that's it, that obsessed thing that everyone's like, well, you love that. And it can even be guys and relationships. And honestly, I cockblock myself every single time I do a podcast. People are like, whoa, not getting with her. But I will be obsessed for the first few months or weeks, up to 6 months. And then if I feel the slightest change, my mind's gone.
Yeah.
And I've switched off.
Yeah.
But I'll put everything in. And then I think that drastic change from I was in one phase 1 second, and then the next phase, that people are like, whoa, you were obsessed with me and now you're completely different. And I'm like, no, I still like you. But they can't grasp that. And it is an obsessive personality. It can be anything. I can be obsessed with the colour black, and that's all I'll wear for ages, and I'll exhaust it, and then I'll move on to something else. But it literally sticks with you through every decision you make throughout life.
Yeah, 100%. And even with friendships, I can notice it myself. Like, if I meet a new friend, I'm like, I want to hang out with this person all the time.
Yes, this is me.
Yeah, and then I'm like, I got completely obsessed with them, and then they kind of, I wouldn't say I drop them, but it's like, it becomes a more normal friendship. It's like love bombing your friend.
This is me. Yes, I love bomb my friends. Oh my God, we're toxic as fuck.
I know, but I never really realized I'd do it until the last 6 months when I started doing so much more work on myself. But like, I also don't think that everyone is ready to do work, because when everything went down with me, there was no way. Like, my brain was just shut off. It was a numbness cloud, because I just was not ready to deal with the stuff. And I finally feel like I'm at the point where I have a great support network, like people to lean on. I have the resources. Like, I feel very comfortable and safe in myself now. So like, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my God, I do that, I am addictive, I do this and this and this, like, don't rush the healing process, because when you are ready to dig deep, you're going to.
So let's say for somebody that is struggling with their body image, which is something I focus on heavily with clients as well. What are your top 3 tips to try and get them to shift that mentality?
Yeah. So the this is something that not that many people know about me, but I don't even know if you've seen this, but I have like this big birthmark on my left leg.
I've seen it before, yeah.
And it's something that growing up, I was so embarrassed about. So the thing with our body image issues is that they tend to come from a certain event, something that's happened to you in the past, like something someone said. Maybe you saw your mom or dad saying, "Oh, my stomach is hanging over my jeans, that means I'm fat," or "I can't wear that because I have cellulite," and then you take that as a child and you think, well, if she's saying that, then obviously that must be true for me as well.
Yep.
So for me, the birthmark that I have, I didn't really think anything of it until I was at the beach one day with my classmates. I was laying on my stomach, or on my back, and this guy in my class comes up to me and he's just like, "Oh my God, look at Ellen. She looks like a monster. You look like a cow. Like, is it contagious? That's disgusting." Laughing, pointing at me. And like every time I tell this,
children.
Yeah, like, but that's just with kids, you know. And every time I tell this story, like I feel the exact same like I did that day. So whenever, like the stuff that you're going through, that the insecurities that you have, whenever someone points them out, you're going to feel the same way because your body remembers. Your body remembers that feeling. Yeah. So, but the thing with any kind of issues like this, so yeah, when that happened for me, it took me 5 years to overcome it. Like I did not wear shorts, I didn't wear dresses, I covered it up. Like even in summer, I would wear like stockings because I was so ashamed. I did not want anyone to say anything. I just thought that I was disgusting. Yeah. But now people might say it, and I immediate reaction is, I mean, I need to hide it. But then it's like, no, you know better now.
Yeah,
you can't.
It makes
like,
you different.
It's
beautiful.
Gorgeous. It's stunning. Like there's nothing wrong with you. You're still beautiful. Yeah. So I guess what I want to get to is you can have these insecurities, you can have these thoughts, you can walk past the mirror and like, oh, I don't like that, or that looks gross or whatever. But then you need to remember that you can't control your thoughts, but you can control which ones you choose to believe. So the thought can be there, but you can still go, you know what? I can see that. I understand where it's coming from. It's coming from this. But I'm going to choose to still wear the bikini, to still wear the shorts, to still be naked in front of my partner, whatever it is. So, yeah, that is probably my biggest tip, to understand and not judge yourself for having those thoughts, because we all have negative thoughts. Yeah. It's very unrealistic, and I think social media has built this expectation that we should always be positive, we should always be happy, we should always say we're so confident in our body and we love every single part of ourselves and yada yada yada. But the best thing that you can do for yourself is understand that you're going to have bad days. Yeah. You're also going to have good days. You're going to be sad. You're going to be angry. You're going to be happy. You're going to be up high and you're going to be down low. Yeah. That's just a part of life.
Yeah, I saw it was a video on TikTok, I think, and my friend had sent me it. And it was when I was in my like depths of despair and didn't know what to do and felt so low, because I can be so extremely happy and so low. So it's trying to find that balance of where I sit. But then on this video, it said that a heart monitor goes like this. And you can't go up without coming down. And it means you're alive. Yeah. So if it was flatlined and you was literally like mellow the whole time and at that stagnant state, you're dead. And it switched something in my brain. And I just thought, oh my God, you cannot have the highs without the lows. Yeah. And it's so true, because some days you do wake up and you think, I feel like shit today. Yeah. I don't know why. And I think we're so demanding on ourselves to try and find the cause of why we're feeling so shit, instead of just sitting with it and being like, you know what, I'm just having a bit of a down day. Yeah. And I'll journal, I'll feel it out, and tomorrow it's a new day. And I think that's so important for people to pick up on, that not every day is happy, and people only post 5% of their day. Yeah, God. That is none of the conversations they've had, none of the triggers they might have felt throughout the day, none of the emotions that they've come across. It is literally 5% of what they want to show, and we all put a brave face on for social media. Yeah. Every single person.
Oh, absolutely. And like, what's so wrong with having a day where you're sad, where you're laying in bed, where you're not doing much? Yeah. Like, we've made this thing about having like that, you know, being a bit sad is bad. Yeah. What's so bad with crying? What's so bad with not having energy? Yeah. It only becomes bad because we're in this hustle mentality that we need to always feel good. True. We need to always work. We need to always be productive. Like, this is something my clients struggle with so much. They're like boredom eating. Like, I ate because I was bored. I was like, okay, but why were you bored?
Me when I was younger.
Yeah, but like, why are you bored?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things you can do.
Yeah.
You choosing to be bored and to let the boredom get you to eat. The boredom didn't put food in your mouth.
Yeah.
You did that.
Yeah.
What is it that you actually don't want to think about?
Yeah, you're not fulfilled in other ways.
Yeah,
so then I use
on.
that kind of an excuse when I used to binge, because, I mean, I've binged for many different reasons. I think on a breakup, I'll not eat. And it's like the breakup diet. And it's like people see that as a positive though. Well, oh, I'm going to split up with
revenge body.
Revenge body. And it's like we try and put a positive on it, and it's so bad for our health and our mindset. And yes, we're trying to find positives in the dark places, but like, for instance, my ex, which when it ended, it was so traumatic and I didn't want to end it. I didn't want to leave, but for my own mental health, I had to. He was pulling me down mentally, and I'd put so much weight on in the relationship because that was the only way we connected with each other. He was a really good cook, and it was the only way he felt like he could show his love to me because he couldn't show it in other ways. So he fed me. He was a feeder. And only when the relationship ended did I look in the mirror and think, oh my God, you are huge. Yeah. And I hate saying that, but it was reality of what happened. And my dad actually said, have you realised how much weight you've put on? Yeah. And I was so triggered by him attacking me for my weight instead of actually thinking, you know what, let's get to the root cause of why I've put the weight on then. And until I left the relationship, I was never going to see that we binge ate together. Because that was where we found comfort. That was where we loved each other. That was the only time we felt connected. So I think it depends on the situation as to why you get certain triggers. And this is something that I find every day. I mean, there's the smallest, even from our conversation yesterday, and this will probably seem really weird to people, but I realised I have a trigger from opening the fridge. Because when I've had traumatic, and it's nothing to do with food, nothing to do with my weight, nothing like that. Whenever my parents have told me something or triggered me, because we all corrugate in the kitchen, it's always when the kitchen door's open. And if they don't look at you in the face and they're telling you something, like my mum, she told me that she had breast cancer as I was in the fridge. And we were talking about my sister wanting to go on the pill, and my mum was obviously really not wanting us to put those hormones in her body and had gone on a big health thing since she found out. None of us knew. And I was in the fridge, and she went, Jordan, I've got breast cancer. And I can remember turning back from the fridge and thinking, oh my fucking God, what have you just said? And then there was another trigger point, which we'll not get into, but other situations where family members have opened the fridge and turned round and said something. And I now relate that to the fridge door.
Of course, yeah.
And I was saying it to the girls last night. I said, I have a really weird thing about fridges. And it's not that I'm scared to open the door. It's not that I'm scared to go in. It's not that I'm scared to touch it. Yeah. It's just a fridge takes me back to that place. Yeah. So warning to anybody, if you are going to tell me something traumatic, please don't tell me when you've got the fridge door open. Because it really does, like, hits a nerve. And I'd never really understood it until we had the conversation. Yeah. And as I was repeating myself, telling you all the different steps of what was said, I thought, the fridge. Yeah. It was all related to that one trigger point because my muscle memory is remembering where I was at that time that I felt that pain. But yeah, that was something that I figured out yesterday because I was like, wow, it's the fridge. The fridge is the point. Yeah. Right, so I've wrote down notes, Elin, which I knew I wouldn't read through any of them because we've covered them all anyway, just from us naturally talking. So, eating habits. I want to ask you, because as a coach, I would normally look at somebody who focused around body image or food. And I would think, they're going to stop me eating this, they're going to stop me eating that, and it's going to be very regimented, and that's what puts me off going with a coach. I love food. I love chocolate, especially when I'm on my period. I love eating sweet, savoury, everything. And it's that limitation, but you don't believe in that, do you? You don't believe in cutting out those foods, those bad foods, and only eating salad and rice and chicken. You are huge on social media, and this is one thing that I love about following your social, is you will post the biggest, fattest cake on there.
That was yesterday.
Yeah. Or like a big milkshake, and she'll post what she's eating, and you're the realist person that like actually shows you can eat these foods. It's not about cutting it out of your life forever. So how did you change that mentality of still being able to eat those foods?
Yeah. You know what? I have never felt so good in my body since I let go of my fitness pal. And my body, I don't think that it's ever looked this good. Like my bum has grown, like I feel lean, like I just, honestly, it is just about being in tune with yourself.
Yes.
Because if you think about it, we have been controlled by rules around food our whole freaking lives. Like your mom and dad controlling your food when you were little, when you could eat, what you could eat, that you couldn't leave the table until you finished your meal.
Yes.
In school, you could only eat at lunch, recess, and then you go to work. You can only eat at certain times. Then you, I don't know, most people sign up to some kind of weight loss program at some point in their life. They follow a meal plan, my fitness pal, Weight Watchers, whatever it is. And then you let go of all that and you're like, what do I actually want to eat? When am I hungry? What does it feel like to be hungry? Because we don't understand the difference between emotional hunger or boredom hunger and actual true hunger. They're completely different.
Yes.
Like emotional hunger is up in here, up in your head, in your chest. It's really stressful, very specific. Like you guys know when you get that craving, like I need chocolate now. If I don't have chocolate, I'm going to die. Like I need it, I need it. And you can't think of eating like salad or like a steak or something. Yeah. Whilst actual true hunger, you would literally eat this plant because you would be so hungry. Like I just need to eat something. And they're so different because actual true hunger is not stressful at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Like you can get, hungry, like a little bit bitchy because your blood sugar's dropping, but that's fine. But actual true hunger just goes up and down in waves all the time. So the biggest thing that I try and teach my clients is the difference here. Because when you are having that emotional hunger, when you are having that specific craving, you are in your subconscious mind. So you are on that autopilot. And that's what we need to bring you back to the safe, to the conscious level where you can understand, okay, I'm actually not really hungry now. I can eat it if I want to, but it's all about, like, what are your priorities right now? What is the purpose of eating this food? Is the purpose for you...
So I have a question. Do you only eat cake when you're in that subconscious hungry level?
No. I think I used to, for sure.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of like, because it was stressing me out. It was like, I need cake now, otherwise I'm going to pass out, basically.
Yeah.
Whilst yesterday when we went for breakfast, I was like, that looks fucking delicious. I want that.
Yeah.
And that was just me being completely calm, completely at peace. That's what I just feel like.
Yeah.
And sometimes you feel like that, but it's all about learning what your body's actually craving.
Yeah.
So after that, for example, I had dinner and I had like this nutritious health bowl because I felt like it.
Yeah.
But most people, they'll have cake for breakfast and then then that triggers them to be stuck in that subconscious, really stressed fight or flight mode. Like, okay, I've ruined it all anyway. I might as well binge all day now because what's the point of eating salad? And you just kind of get stuck in that hole. So what we need to do is we need to get back into being in tune with ourselves and not be so judgmental towards, why do I not understand the difference? Why do I always feel like cake? Why do I always feel like pizza? Yeah. Well, because you told yourself for like 20, 30, 40 years that it's bad.
Yeah.
Of course you're going to feel like it all the time.
Yeah.
It's like if I tell you like, don't drink your coffee, do not drink it. You'll be
I'll
like,
drink 10.
I just want to drink it now. Yeah.
Never tell me not to do something because I'll do it more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All of us are little kids.
Yeah.
We just want to do what we like, the opposite of what we're told.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is start allowing all foods. Stop saying that you ate like a dickhead on the weekend. Stop saying that you're a pig because you had some cake. Yeah. Because that is literally...
And self-talk is so important.
That's just you saying that you're bad because you ate this. You're not good enough because you ate this. Or now you're being good because you ate a salad. Like, you might say it in a jokingly way. Yeah. But it's still going to imprint on you. So first of all, need to let go of that. And then second of all, start allowing all foods. If you want to have a cookie on a Wednesday, have the fucking cookie. The worst thing you can do is feel guilty after. Yeah. Because that's just going to reinforce that kind of binge restrict mentality again. But I always say this to my clients that when you're coming off something like this, like something really strict, like maybe a really low calorie diet, maybe really strict eating in general, it is natural for your body to just crave this unhealthy, like high calorie foods, because you have been restricting them for so long. So this is when you need to still remind your body that there's a difference between nutrient deprived and calorie deprived.
Okay.
So nutrients, that's, you know, your vitamins, minerals, like protein, calcium, like, you know, all that fiber, like good stuff. So what we need to do is, yes, allow the pizza, allow the chocolate, and yeah, you might gain a couple of kilos because you are now finally allowing yourself, but you need to also remind your body that this is what true health actually looks like. So have the ice cream, but maybe have a banana after. Have a pizza, but maybe have a salad for lunch. And remind your body that this is what nutrients are like, this is what soul food is. And this is what's really going to help you become in tune of understanding, okay, I am actually craving nutrients now, or I'm craving
So true, because I will crave a salad.
Exactly.
If I've ate like shit or overindulged on carbs and sweet stuff, I'll be like, I actually do really want a salad. And it is all about that different balance. So what I want to kind of connect this with, the obsessions and the addictions, just like me having an obsession with sex. And it wasn't having an obsession with an orgasm. It wasn't having an obsession with dicks and vaginas. It was more so the control that I had. This is my body. I am in control of it, so I will control yours as well. And that's where I kind of got my fix from. With binge eating, did you ever turn to sex? Because you are a very sexual person, aren't you, Ellen? She is a very sexual person.
Yes. So when I stopped binge eating, I was very obsessed with tracking my food. And I had kind of gone to a realization that, okay, I should probably let go of this now. I don't think it's healthy for me anymore. And then I had 2 really big traumatic events happen that I told you about. And while they were happening, it just happened in such a short time period. I just was not ready to deal with it myself. And one of them was a breakup that was extremely traumatic. And after that breakup, I didn't want to binge, but I also didn't want to track my food. And I just had to channel that obsessive energy into something else. So yes, I started my business, but I was only studying at the first 6 months. So to try and get all my degrees and stuff. So the rest of the energy just went into dating apps. And I would literally just swipe away and just find random dudes and just set up random sex as much as I possibly could. And that was my fix. That was what made me feel good at the time. Like how some people go and have a huge cake. Like I was like, I'm feeling down. I'm going on Tinder. Oh, match, great. I'm coming over to your house now. Go over, shag him, leave. And I did that I probably did that for a year and a half or 2 years or something. And I didn't understand that it was a problem. I just thought that, I'm just come out this long-term relationship. I'm just living my single life. Like, you know, and especially when you are going through a lot of traumatic stuff, like you tend to be very stuck in the denial phase. Because you're not ready to deal with it. And that was me. Like all of my friends were like, Ellen, you need to go to therapy. Like you need to actually talk about this. And I was like, no, I'm fine. And then, you know, get on Tinder. Yep, okay, I'm fine. See you guys. Bye. And just have sex with some random, feel good for, you know, the time, but then just feel so disgusted by myself after, and so lonely. Like even more lonely than I ever felt before. Yeah,
that's something that and because I was in such a cycle and I knew the time period of when I slept with somebody new to then how many hours it was going to take me to feel shit and low. So by that time, I would have already set up another to go, and it is an addiction. It's getting that hit of, I will not come down so low to that point where I need it again. I'll just keep topping up and topping up and topping up and topping up. So I kind of did the exact same as you, was on a spiral, but I kind of turned it into a work mode. So because I helped run sex parties, I thought, well, I'm working. And I had an excuse for everything. I knew that I was addicted. I knew that I had a problem, but I thought no one else knows. So I don't need to admit it. So if I just start selling sex toys, no one will know. I'm just selling sex toys and I'm in that industry and no one really needs to worry about it. Whereas it was a fucking big problem that was getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I came here and thought, I need to be celibate, that I actually went within myself and kind of came out of it. So what brought you out of it? What kind of was the final straw?
I think that I think that it was my business, honestly. I literally just channeled it all into my business. Like I said before, I was obsessed with it, which I am still, but at a more healthy level now. I mean, sex is still, for me, a way to make myself feel better. Like it's only been in the last probably 3-4 months that I stopped using dating apps as a way of making myself feel better. Like before that, every time I was anxious, go on a dating app, match with a few people, talk to them. I didn't, now I'm, 4 months ago, I didn't have to take it as far as having sex. It kind of went to just matching with someone, just talking to someone that kind of filled that void. But before it was, I needed to have sex with them and prove that I was worthy and prove that someone loved me.
Is that external validation?
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah.
And just, because in my head I was like, I'm in control. You're the one who gets to have sex with me. Like, I'm just being this powerful woman, like having sex with all these guys. But in reality, I was just so hurt and so lonely and so lost that I just needed some kind of distraction that was like exciting, like going over to someone's house I didn't know. And I mean, sometimes I still get into that pattern of wanting to message someone or like get on the apps and just get some validation. I
think we all do.
I think that is quite normal.
Yeah, of course.
I think as long as you're aware of it, I don't really see it as a problem anymore. Whilst before, like looking back now, I can definitely see that.
Okay, so moving on. I'm going to drop a few home truths on this podcast that people won't know about me.
Ooh.
When I was going through my phase of needing that validation, needing to be in control, needing those obsessive thoughts handled in some way, I did webcamming for a short time. And when I actually delve into why I did it and what got me on to doing webcamming, it was way deeper than me just getting a fix every now and again. And I was doing it to kind of take control back of my body because I'd come out of a really shit relationship. I didn't feel sexy and powerful in my own body. So my way of bringing that back to myself was by having that complete control of opening my laptop, being on cam for a few hours, getting that validation from people, getting that and building my confidence up that way. Yes, there was boundaries crossed and I wasn't in a very healthy space. And when I look back on it, it was serious confident issues as to why I was doing it. I have one last question. Have you ever faked an orgasm?
Yes.
That's the answer everyone
100%.
gives. Yeah. And what stopped you faking them now? Yeah, I do. I don't want you to go into the actual time. I just want you to tell people why you shouldn't fake an orgasm.
The only times that I've done it is to make it stop. I'm sure that most listeners, if they've had the person who's just like, keep going, and then he's like, oh my God, are you dead? Are you dead? Are you dead? And in hindsight, I probably should just say, no, let's just stop.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just haven't said that. And
no, you know what we are, Elin? It's not a bad thing. We're people pleasers.
Yeah.
And we empower people that much that sometimes we do it falsely.
Yeah. I would never fake it to make them feel better. I would only the only times I've faked it has been because they're like, I'm so close, but I'm not gonna come until you come.
Yeah.
When they literally said that out loud.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna fake it then.
Yeah.
I've always known my body quite well. Like, I think I started masturbating quite early, so I've always kind of known what I liked. So being able, like, if I'm with a guy and I can't come, then there's something really wrong. And that's fucking having sex with that person. Like, it's like, no.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, that sounds like.
But thank you so much, Elin. It's been an absolute pleasure. Like, you've covered all bases of everything that I ever want to talk to you about.
Oh, good.
But thank you. You've been an amazing guest. And for anybody that genuinely has watched this and thinks, I have a problem binge eating or I need help with my body confidence, go to Elin. Like, I'll plug every handle she has on every form of social media I've got. But she's an amazing coach, and just being around her makes me feel empowered. And when I do that for a living, it's so nice to have that energy as well given back to you. You're not always giving it out, and it's nice to have a friend that I appreciate so much.
Yes, likewise.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. And I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.